For years, the Jeffrey Epstein saga was MAGA media's favorite proof of elite corruption. It was a story that seemed to confirm every suspicion about the powerful and untouchable, a narrative that fit perfectly into their worldview. The Epstein case was more than just news, it was a rallying cry, a symbol of everything they claimed was wrong with the establishment. It was their Excalibur, a weapon against the so-called deep state. Every mention of Epstein was wielded like a sword, cutting through political opponents and fueling endless speculation about hidden networks of power. Night after night, figures like Jesse Waters hammered the mainstream media for ignoring the story. They accused rivals of covering up the truth, insisting that only they were brave enough to pursue real justice. The Epstein case fueled outrage, ratings, and a sense of righteous crusade. Viewers tuned in, hungry for updates, convinced they were witnessing the exposure of a grand conspiracy. Then, in the summer of 2025, everything changed. The shift was as sudden as it was shocking, leaving audiences and even some insiders stunned. Suddenly, the story vanished from MAGA airwaves. It was as if the entire media machine had been unplugged overnight, erasing months of relentless coverage. The silence was abrupt, as if a switch had been flipped. No explanation, no transition. Just a void where outrage used to be. The same hosts who'd obsessed over Epstein now ignored him. Their focus shifted instantly, as if the story had never mattered at all. This wasn't a slow fade, it was a coordinated shutdown. Behind the scenes, producers and anchors received the message, move on and do it now. The reason? A directive from Donald Trump himself. The order was clear, and it rippled through the ranks with unmistakable authority. After a DOJ memo contradicted MAGA's favorite conspiracy, Trump told his allies to drop the story. The narrative that once served them now threatened their own position. The effect was immediate. The crusade ended overnight. The energy that once drove the coverage simply evaporated, leaving confusion in its wake. The narrative had become inconvenient, and silence replaced outrage. The transformation was total, and the audience was left to wonder why. This shift exposed the true mechanics of MAGA media, where political expediency trumps journalistic inquiry. The pursuit of truth was always secondary to the needs of power. The disappearance of the Epstein story wasn't just editorial, it was mass obedience. The machinery of outrage could be silenced with a single command. The so-called truth seekers revealed themselves as loyal soldiers, abandoning their battlefield on command. Their independence was always an illusion. In the end, the silence itself became the story, a testament to who really sets the agenda. The lesson was clear: in this world, truth is only pursued when it's convenient. No one embodied the Epstein crusade more than Jesse Waters. He was the face of the movement, the relentless voice that promised to uncover every hidden truth. For years, he built his brand on exposing the truth about Epstein, promising bombshells and revelations. His audience trusted him to dig deeper than anyone else. He was the audience's champion, the lone voice against a supposed conspiracy of silence. His fervor and determination made him a hero to many. But when Trump called for an end to the story, Waters' transformation was instant. The once fiery investigator suddenly lost his spark. The relentless investigator lost his curiosity overnight. His passion for the truth seemed to vanish in an instant. His only follow-up was a trivial man-on-the-street segment. No more bombshells, no more outrage. The depth of his investigation was reduced to shallow interactions. The pit bull of primetime became a poodle. His fierce demeanor softened and his intensity waned. The shift exposed the performative nature of his previous outrage. It became clear that his fervor was more about the show than the substance. Waters' crusade wasn't about principle. It was about political convenience. His actions were dictated by the winds of political favor. When the leader decided the story was over, so was the investigation. The narrative was no longer his to control. Waters' compliance showed the hierarchy of MAGA media loyalty to Trump above all. His allegiance was clear. He wasn't an independent journalist. He was a media operative taking orders. His role was to follow, not to lead. His silence spoke volumes, revealing that loyalty to Trump outweighed any commitment to the story. The truth was secondary to his allegiance. The audience saw the truth. The crusader was just following orders. The facade of independent journalism crumbled. The myth of independent inquiry was shattered. The reality of media manipulation was laid bare for all to see. The catalyst was a DOJ and FBI memo in July 2025. The agencies concluded Epstein had committed suicide. No vast blackmail scheme, no murdered witness. This contradicted years of MAGA narrative. The memo, from Trump's own Attorney General Pam Bondi, sparked outrage among MAGA influencers. For a moment, the movement turned on itself, targeting Bondi as part of a cover-up. Trump saw the danger and intervened. He issued a statement defending Bondi and ordering his followers to drop the Epstein story. The message was clear. The investigation was over. The official story was now the only story. But Trump didn't just end the old narrative, he introduced a new one. He claimed the Epstein files were a deep state trap created by Obama and Clinton to harm MAGA. The old war was over. A new conspiracy had begun. With Trump's directive, the MAGA media pivoted overnight. The years-long narrative of elite pedophilia and cover-up was replaced. Now, the story was that the Epstein files were a deep state setup. The focus shifted from Epstein's crimes to the supposed creators of the files, Obama, Clinton, and their allies. This reframing allowed MAGA media to save face without admitting they were wrong. Instead of confronting the DOJ's findings, they sidestepped them. The new narrative: Trump was the real victim of a political plot. Loyal media figures like Dinesh D'Souza and Charlie Kirk fell in line, echoing the new talking points. The audience was guided away from inconvenient facts and toward a familiar enemy. Truth became irrelevant. Utility as a political weapon was all that mattered. For MAGA media, truth is fluid, shaped and discarded as needed. The narrative changed, but the outrage machine kept running. Not everyone in MAGA media complied. A handful of conservative commentators, Candace Owens, Benny Johnson, Megyn Kelly, refused to drop the Epstein story. They saw the pivot as a betrayal of principle, not a strategic retreat. These dissenters had invested too much credibility to abandon the case on command. They questioned the DOJ's conclusions and argued the victims deserved justice. Megyn Kelly, unbound by Fox News, openly criticized the sudden silence and called out the hypocrisy. This dissent revealed cracks in Trump's control over the narrative. Some conservative voices still valued consistency and principle over blind loyalty. Their refusal to go silent created an alternative narrative, one that questioned the motives behind the shift. The MAGA echo chamber was no longer monolithic. At the center was Attorney General Pam Bondi. Her memo's findings, Epstein's suicide, no blackmail scheme, infuriated the MAGA base. Influencers accused her of betrayal. #Bondi betrayal trended. Trump faced a choice: side with his base or defend Bondi. He chose loyalty, issuing a statement backing her and her findings. This forced a new narrative. The Epstein affair was a deep state trap. The episode revealed Trump's leadership style: loyalty above all else. He was willing to abandon a useful conspiracy to protect a key ally. The message was clear: loyalty would be rewarded, even at political cost. Trump didn't just weather the storm, he redirected it. The crisis became a demonstration of his absolute authority. The MAGA media's rapid compliance is a case study in manufacturing consent. Fox News, once obsessed with Epstein, fell silent overnight. Hosts like Hannity and Gutfeld ignored the story completely. The network's programming shifted to the new narrative: Trump as victim of a deep state plot. The statistics told the story: Epstein was barely mentioned, while Biden was referenced over 100 times. This was no coincidence, it was a top-down command. The audience wasn't informed, they were managed. The media's role shifted from watchdog to political messaging arm. When the Epstein story served Trump, it was promoted. When it became inconvenient, it was suppressed. This isn't journalism, it's public relations. The media platform was used to manufacture consent and ensure compliance. The audience was told what to think and what not to think about. The line between news and propaganda was erased. The Epstein directive may be a turning point for MAGA media. For years, conservative outlets have operated in near lockstep, amplifying the same talking points and reinforcing a unified worldview. But this moment signals a possible shift, a crack in the once impenetrable wall of consensus. Trump's power to control the narrative was immense, but not absolute. His influence shaped headlines and set the agenda, but even he could not silence every voice or dictate every story. Dissenters like Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly fractured the echo chamber. Their willingness to question the party line, even at personal or professional risk, opened the door for others to do the same. For the first time, the audience had a choice: follow Trump's line or demand answers. Viewers, once passive recipients, became active participants, weighing competing narratives and seeking out alternative perspectives. This fracture could lead to a more fragmented, competitive conservative media. New voices and platforms may emerge, challenging the old guard and reshaping the landscape. Some will choose the comfort of the official narrative, others, the anti-establishment rhetoric of dissenters. The audience is now split, and the battle for their loyalty has only just begun. The episode is a stark reminder of how easily media narratives are manipulated for political ends. Behind every headline there are choices: what to highlight, what to ignore, and who gets to speak. When a story as big as Epstein's can be turned off like a switch, public trust erodes. The audience is left questioning not just the story, but the motives behind its disappearance. The truth becomes another casualty in the culture war. Facts are weaponized, and uncertainty grows as competing sides battle for dominance. The battle for narrative control is now out in the open. No longer hidden behind closed doors, it plays out on screens and in headlines every day. Trump's power to shape belief is clear, but so is the first sign of rebellion. The old order is being challenged, and the outcome is far from certain. Dissenters may have planted seeds for a more independent conservative media. New projects and independent voices could redefine what it means to be part of the movement. For a moment, the echo chamber echoed with something new: dissent. And in that moment, the possibility of real change was heard.